And then, of course, the elephant in every room right now is AI. And what is the place for AI? How can AI be leveraged? How much and how much should we trust AI? And there's a lot of questions around AI and the feasibility of it because they're very expensive tools. There's a huge impact to the ecosystem, right? They're not the greenest, it's not the greenest technology in the world. Um, so that's a really big thing. And then obviously, I'm based in the United States. I work at a global company, and what you're seeing a lot of companies right now grapple and try to flounder with is, and obviously, like with no intention of being political whatsoever, but there are obviously some really very real political forces going on in the world right now that cannot be ignored. And so, what are the impacts down funnel on what we're seeing happen on the political landscape? So I think AI and regulation is going to be a really big theme for the next little bit, especially if we start entering into an economic downturn. And then in terms of the tools and how the tools can impact, I think that this is a very exciting question and there's a very exciting space. Um, I think that there's so much, this is sort of a little bit my personal ethos, but I think there's a lot of really big opportunity right now for data science tools and AI to come in and do really boring work that nobody wants to be doing so people can be more creative, right? Like I think in general we need AI to do less of the creative stuff and for it to do more of the boring stuff because I think people are really interesting and really creative and come up with cool things when they're not making 152 slides in a PowerPoint. Um, and then and kind of like I was saying earlier in the tools that in my space, a lot of I work in sort of leadership and HR, like that's sort of the space I'm most familiar with at this point. But a lot of what we're seeing in our space is how to just remove bias from hiring decisions. How can you expand your pools? How can you, I think as you guys go apply to the job market, as you guys enter the job market or don't enter the job market, I will send you my best wishes and pray for you because we've gotten to this really horrific space where you use AI to tailor your resume for a job description that's been tailored by AI that is then immediately filtered through AI, and then AI is just hiring AI, and nobody actually knows how AI is working or what it's using. And then HR is frustrated because they're getting 900 applications that are all perfectly tailored to the job description. And then they start talking to people and realize that like half of it's false because, of course, it's false because. So I think there's a significant amount of improvement for data science to come in and really do a lot of work there outside of the HR space, I think one of the really cool projects that one of my really good friends is working on is around reducing fentanyl overdoses. And so trying to understand how the social behaviors essentially on college campuses around drug overdosing and how we can reduce the bystander effect because a lot of times people don't want to, call the cops or get help because they don't want to get in trouble. So how can we help save lives through getting help? And I think there's a lot of really interesting research and space to be done in that arena.
Yeah, those are all great
Oh,
points. And the HR example just definitely makes me think of like the snake eating its own tail at a certain point of just
oh,
like,
it
what even is happening? Like,
yeah, it's really wild out there.
yeah, disrupting across the space. I have a question of in your experience, have you seen like AI taking over like data science roles or data analyst roles or or those functions or more just the boring stuff?
So this is what everyone learned in the past 18 months, like 24, let's say 24 months. AI has been a thing that has existed for a really long time. So yes, it's really proliferated, and yes, Gen AI has made it a lot more prolific in companies. But I promise you, PepsiCo, like in other Fortune 500 companies, have been using AI for quite a long time. They have a pretty intense data governance structure. It's been integrated. It's been there for a long time. Um, I don't know if we're there yet because where AI is going to take away data, like data analyst roles, because there's still a really, really substantial outstanding question around liability on if AI fucks something up, is the company at fault, or is the model that the AI is responsible for? So to the extent that we still need humans to make sure that like the paper trail of liability stays strong, I think we're going to still see people in those roles. I also think that I I don't know. This is a little bit more of a speculative answer, but um I think as people get I think we're going to see, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bit of a renaissance in the other direction. I think that from what I've heard, just people are tired of everything being AI. I think because I mean I was talking to one of the people I know who's in college, and they've gone back to like handwriting discussion posts because they were tired of Chat GPT writing discussion posts and then having Chat GPT respond to discussion posts. And so it was just again AI filtering AI, and they were like, I'm this is stupid and I'm done with it. So I do think there is going to be this renaissance of wanting to get back into the world in a meaningful way. Now, capitalism is a thing. So, I imagine that it's going to take over some spaces. But the one thing that I will personally hold out hope on is that data without insights is very uninteresting. Um, so we always say that there's three whats in any factor figure, there's three whats. There is the first what, which is just what, and that is what is the number that you're looking at. There's the second what, which is so what? Like, so you're telling me this is true. Great. What does that mean? And then there's the now what. So it's, you told me what this is. You told me what this means. Now tell me what to do. And I think that while AI might cannibalize the first what, I think the human lens on the so what and now what are going to continue to be really important.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I've even tried to like echo that sentiment before of like, especially since we have a lot of like social science students of like, and if like kind of leveraging that data analysis background, but also adding that like human insight and like remembering that it's like beyond just the number, which I think hopefully, knock on wood, that like that is something that only humans can still do for at least at least a couple more years. Like
For
10
like
years,
the
I don't
next,
know. I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say. But the other thing that has really come out in the past 24 months is that it is expensive as fuck to run this technology. Like,
Yeah.
like we're talking corporations are putting, I want to say at least 10 million, and that is not a budget line item that a lot of corporations can afford.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because like OpenAI makes it, and Google and like all the main LLMs out there make it seem like it's like free or so cheap because like you can just access ChatGPT without, paying anything. But like actually every time you send a prompt, it does actually have like a cost to it. So yeah, great point of that as well.
Very
Yeah.
expensive.